I think I just accidentally uncovered something about a Benjamin Moore white paint color that I've had a lot to say about. If you're a veteran paint people watcher and you've seen a lot of our videos, especially about white paint colors, you've heard me talk about Chantilly Lace OC65 by Benjamin Moore. It has consistently been a go-to white paint color for anyone looking for a really clean, bright white for their home, whether they're trying to paint their trim or their woodwork a bright white, or maybe replicate a minimalist art gallery aesthetic on the walls. Well, recently, I discovered that Chantilly Lace isn't quite as bright as it used to be. The color has changed. In fact, it looks like a lot of colors have. So let's get to the bottom of this, talk about what kinds of changes these colors have gone through, and how it could potentially impact you as consumers, and maybe speculate on why these changes were made in the first place. I have a sneaking suspicion as to why, so stick around to hear my sneaky little thoughts. So just a quick recap on my relationship with Chantilly Lace. And it's been a bit tumultuous, but we're getting through it. To be honest, I have not talked favorably about it in the past. Not necessarily because it's a bad color, because that would be ridiculous. I can't hate on a paint color just for existing, but I was more so critical of the context that the color was constantly placed in. Because Chantilly Lace is so bright and clean and pretty much free of any undertones, a lot of people would just immediately gravitate towards it as being the one and only white paint color option, instead of considering other options that may suit them even better. They just picked it because it's the brightest, basically. And part of me enjoys this level of decision making because it does simplify the whole process for a lot of people, and I think that's great. But selfishly, as a painter as well as a consultant, I know how painful it is to use Chantilly Lace and any other really, really bright white paint color, and it's because of its notorious problems with coverage. What might take Dove Wing 2 coats, Chantilly Lace might require 3 or 4 in order to have proper coverage. So there is that practical problem, but also the fact that people just ignored the other options in a lot of cases. So here's what I recently discovered. I was browsing Benjamin Moore's revamped website, which is awesome, by the way. Check it out when you can. And I went to check out Chantilly Lace under different lighting conditions using this really cool lighting simulator they have now. But before I could get to that, I noticed something glaringly different about Chantilly Lace, and that was its LRV. So for those of you who don't know what LRV stands for, it's the light reflectance value, which is a 0 to 100% score that lets us know how much light a color reflects. As a paint color approaches 100, it gets brighter and brighter. And for all of my fellow color nerds watching, you probably know Chantilly Lace's notorious high LRV by heart. It's 92.2, which is the highest LRV in Benjamin Moore's entire catalog, as far as I know. Maybe there's some secret menu color options that I don't know about. Well, if you check out the color's LRV today, it's actually 90.04. It's basically 90, which may not seem like a massive difference. I mean, you're going from 92-ish to 90, but when you're known as the lightest and brightest white, any darker is going to have an impact. And this got me thinking, because if Chantilly Lace is at a 90 now, what are some of the other bright whites in Benjamin Moore's catalog? Simply White was what I naturally wanted to check next because it was over 91 before, and sure enough, it's now sitting at 89.52. What is going on here? What about my good pal Super White, which was at 89, let's say? Well, now it's reading at an 87-ish. So just when I was about to assume that every color in Benjamin Moore's catalog has gotten darker, I checked out a really, really dark color called Gentleman's Gray, which is a deep navy blue. That used to be around 5, and now it's actually closer to 7.2. Now I know all these numbers being thrown at you may not seem like a big deal, but clearly something has changed in Benjamin Moore's system, and no one seems to notice or want to talk about it. Why are these colors not as bright now? Well, I have a couple thoughts on why, and if you want to hear them, give me a solid poke of the like button. See what I did there? Because I'm about to spill some tea, aka truth. At least my truth. So the first explanation is that the colors themselves maybe haven't really changed a whole lot at all, but the methods regarding how they're measured might have been changed or updated, giving more accurate results and therefore different numbers. I don't think this is the explanation though, because I'm pretty sure Benjamin Moore knows how to measure color and has been doing it for quite a while. I think this has more to do with the reformulation in a lot of their products. You may have noticed that Benjamin Moore's paint labels have been changing recently, and it's been more than an aesthetics change. The products themselves, the paint inside, they've been updated. And for the better, I might add. It's no secret that bright white paints are a bit trickier to use because the coverage is normally good on darker colors, especially when you get to off-white territory or there's lighter colors. Maybe these notoriously bright whites aren't as bright in order to improve their usability, which would kind of be a big deal for the people that actually use these colors on a day-to-day basis, like the professional contractors out there. This theory sort of coincides with my trip to see the Painting Brothers when we did that video for Benjamin Moore, because after we finished filming, he ran outside and said, "Hey, James, it actually covers really well." And the new and improved aura makes Chantilly lace feasible on his projects. It's a noticeable difference in coverage. Was it the fact that it was the new and improved aura, like the paint itself? Or maybe because Chantilly lace, the color, was actually the new, slightly darker version, which helped with coverage. Could be a bit of both. Either way, it's a curious observation that I don't see anyone else talking about, so I wanted to bring it to your attention to come to your own conclusions. Am I blowing this thing out of proportion? Or is this kind of a huge conspiracy in our little niche of painting and decorating? Either way, it kind of makes me want to go out and use Chantilly lace on my next project. Have I gone crazy? I gotta try it now.